All right, we've come to Home Depot today to look at insulating products for the hull. I've done a lot of research on different products, and I was kind of leaning towards this stuff called Armaflex before, but I found it to be pretty darn expensive. So what we're going to use is here, and I'll show you. But before we look at the product that we're going to use, let's talk a little bit about why you'd insulate your boat. So obviously, you're going to try to condition the space, even though we'll probably be in warmer weather and air conditioning is expensive, and we probably will not have one of those because it takes so much energy to use. We still need insulation because boats sweat. The humidity inside becomes a big problem in there, and you can get condensation on the hull itself because the water's cold and the boat is warm, or vice versa. So we need to find something to prevent that from happening. Our boat has a cord hole, which actually helps quite a bit in that process, but a little insulation is going to help us keep it warm when it's cold out and cool when it's warm out. Even being at Home Depot, there are a lot of options for insulation. Spray foam, bad insulation, reflective bubble wrappy stuff, and rigid foam. We are looking specifically at rigid foam. This stuff has an R value of 3.2, which is about as good as you can get for just a half-inch product. So when it comes to insulating a boat, there are two big factors that we are most conscious of. One is something called R value, which is just a measure of the efficiency of a given insulation's ability to insulate. The bigger the number, the better it is at insulating. We don't have a lot of space, so we want something that's going to pack a lot of R punch in a half inch, maybe an inch, depending on where we're going to put it. The second thing is ease of installation. Some of the stuff flexes really easy, some of it's more stiff. Others would need some sort of adhesive to hold it against the wall, and then some that are really simple can use compression. There's also spray foam, where you would basically create a wall void and then fill it with spray foam. That is an intriguing idea, but I don't trust spray foam because someday I'm going to want to get in there and I think it'll just be a huge mess. If there were any leaks in the boat, you'd have no idea where they are, and the only way you'd be able to figure out where they are is to start chipping away spray foam until you find the actual source. So spray foam is out. The other products you can get are something that's like a reflexive bubble wrap. That is more used in conjunction with other forms of insulation. You can use it as its own freestanding product, but you're supposed to put one layer here and another layer here and let the air in between those act as an insulator, and the more air space you have between the two, the better it insulates. Obviously we don't have the room for that, so that product is out. So what that really boils down to is some sort of closed cell foam that we could put up against the hull, and hopefully it stays there while we need it, but it's removable and inspectable and can be returned to where it is. So I don't want to have to adhesive stick it in place. Armaflex is a product that is like a foam mat. They don't have that at Home Depot. It's something that I was strongly considering, but it's very, very expensive per square foot, so that was a major negative. Its R value is not as good as some other products, and I mean, like, as an attractiveness to the product, it comes with a backing that you can adhere it to the hull, but because of the cost and the lack of R value, I want to use something that's going to be a little better and a lot cheaper. That leaves us with rigid foam board. And there's a couple of different kinds. There's polystyrene, which is basically just styrofoam. That doesn't pack much of an R value, but it does make a very easy installation because it's very, very flexible and easy to install. Because it's just basically aluminum foil wrapped styrofoam, I'm not very excited about putting that on the boat. What I think will be the winner, and I haven't tested this yet, is a different product called polyiso or ISO insulation. It has a really good R value. At a half inch, you get over 3, which there's nothing that even comes close to that. Most of the stuff I was looking at are between 1 and 2 per half inch. The challenges are going to be, it's a very rigid product, so I don't know how easy it's going to be to conform to the hull, and that's what we're testing today. I'm going to get a piece of the 1/2 inch, which will have to do the most conforming, and then I'm also going to get a piece of the 1 inch, which will go in the ceiling recesses where there's already enough room that adding that extra bit of insulation costs us nothing in headroom. And I'll show you what I mean back at the boat, but there's stringers along the top, so you might as well fill up that void. Otherwise, it's just wasted space. So we're going to get a sheet of 1/2 inch polyiso and 1 inch polyiso and take them back to the boat for some testing. And at only 42 cents a square foot, it's not a bad deal. And at well under $1 per square foot, the 1/2 inch is only 42 cents a square foot. This is a lot more attractive price-wise than the Armaflex or really anything else I saw for the R value. Now just a quick stop for breakfast, and we'll get on to another cool project that we're going to try to get going today. This place has delicious breakfast burritos because they fry the bacon and these weird little potato flats that are like super thick potato chips. So they're mushy and potato like French fries on the inside. It's delicious.
Yes, I'll help you.
Yeah, can I get 2 bacon breakfast burritos, 1 with sour cream?
2 bacon breakfast burritos, 1 with sour cream. Anything else?
Nope, that'll do it.
Thank you. Here you go.
Thank you.
Can I have a pen? Sorry.
What?
The pen?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Goodness. Mm-hmm. Ah, they must really need pens. Okay, so as you can see, that's step 1 in making a Dexter kill room. Next, you want to put a table in the middle of the bed and get some heavier duty sheathing. Now let's just go ahead and inject some foam urethane into the ceiling instead. This is obviously here to protect the hull. Not that we couldn't sand it off because it's already going to be pretty beat up anyway. We're going to inject the product into all these little holes. I anticipate a lot of dripping coming down onto the plastic. So we're going to start in the back corner and obviously work our way out the door. We have quite a few holes to do. I decided to be thorough. Most of these holes didn't need anything, so I doubt we'll use much product in them, but some of them had some voids. After I'm done with this, we'll go into this locker, which I basically quarantined, and we'll do a few holes in the walls. Those 4 in the back that are showing light through right there, those are actually for the davits. I broke down and took them out just to make sure that they didn't have any exposed cords in them. They did. So later on, we're going to fill those with thickened epoxy and then remount the hardware. Okay, let's see how this stuff works, but I'm gonna have to suit up to do so. So back to Breaking Bad mode. All right, let's give this stuff a go. Well, it certainly makes the mess I anticipated. It is goopy. But I'm hoping I can keep myself out of it because I probably should be wearing a tie-dye suit and I'm not. I'm also hoping it's going to get into these walls enough to expand and do what we want it to do and not just make a gigantic freaking mess in here. And I'm a little worried that it's not. If you do this obviously on top of the deck, you have the benefit of gravity keeping the product inside the holes. Here, we don't have that luxury. Oh, there's some expansion. I don't want to use too much because it can cause bulging if it's anywhere close to similar to that other product that I was auditing, possibly using. I just hope it starts to foam up and then expands within itself. You know what, this stuff is expensive. That was an entire tube of it, and it's just oozing out of all the holes that I put it in. So I think what I'm gonna do is call it for right now and see how this turns out, because I am not at all hopeful. I don't know how the heck this is supposed to work long term. It certainly seems to be doing something. It is, however, creating foam in at least that one hole, and I'm hoping the rest of them will do the same, and it'll just fill it up and solidify. To be determined whether or not this is going to work out. That was 1/6 of my supply, and I barely got that corner done, so I think I need to be less generous with it in the future. Well, it's pretty obvious where most of the foam ended up. If you look at each hole, there is foam coming out of them. So that means that theoretically, enough foam got in there and expanded to hopefully have done some good. I did push up and test the flex on the deck beforehand, so if this makes this corner feel a little bit more solid, I say it's worth it since I already bought the product. I'm gonna be a lot less generous in each hole, and hopefully it fills voids enough to make sense. Anyway, not a total failure, but definitely a mess to clean up and a lot of wasted product. I've got 5 more of them though, so if I can do this smarter, we might be in business.
Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next week.